From Studio 3C and Rockefeller Center, this is Today in New York.
Well, this morning we are addressing the issue dominating headlines, scandals, and politics these days. During a week when the Anthony Weiner sexting scandal overshadowed most news of the week, we're asking how scandal hurts and sometimes helps a political campaign.
Well, not only for Anthony Weiner, but for the other candidates looking to be New York City's next mayor. We're joined by organizational psychologist Dr. Woody Woodward, who's been a guest here before, and a new guest for us, political media expert, Professor Jackie Guzda. Nice to have you both with us this morning.
Great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you both for coming in. The operative phrase here is dominating, because this is dominating the headlines, and the race and the issues are sort of getting lost in the translation with all of this. You agree? And everyone's saying the same thing. Should he step away and leave us to our mayoral race?
Well, listen, when I was coming in this morning, I saw Christine Quinn, and she looked very happy. So, you know, here's the thing, is that the other candidates are calling for the issues to be the main subject. And we, the people of New York City, need to have that happen, or else this is just going to turn into a great big comedy show, which it already is.
Yeah.
So we really need people of New York City to step up and take this seriously.
But a moment ago, the people of New York City, when the week started, liked Anthony Weiner. And then, what did he just send out one too many photos of his private parts and we just became overwhelmed? Or was it that he was lying about the timing of it? When did everyone turn? Because we saw those poll numbers where he was leading, and then all of a sudden, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, he was, done.
Yeah, I think what's getting frustrating is the fact that, New York is America's premier city. It's not a platform for redemption. And I think people are getting a little bit tired of this whole, I'm using this for redemption, when we know that's the case. These guys are not here for public service. This is a compulsion. It's an addiction to power. And I think people are starting to catch on to that. And they're saying, we want to elect a leader. This is about leadership. And any psychologist will tell you the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And we're starting to see more and more about some of these past behaviors, particularly in the face of knowing the consequences of these behaviors, and they continue to do them, both Spitzer and Weiner. So I think people are getting frustrated.
But at the same time, Jackie, Rudy Giuliani had an affair when he was mayor of New York City, the famous ashtray incident. We forgave him. He became America's mayor because he transformed himself. Well, are we speaking out of both sides of our mouths?
Well, I've always said that if somebody has an affair and they run for an office, you could not fill the halls of Congress and no one would be president of the United States. Yeah.
But, it's about decision making, though. And I think when we look at these two cases, though, particularly with Weiner and Spitzer, they knew the consequences and they knew the dangers. They knew what would happen. In Weiner's case, his whole sexting forced him out of Congress. Right. And he continued to do it, knowing those consequences. So I think as a voter out there, and anyone probably being polled in these polls is thinking to themselves, these guys just don't seem to get it. They keep making these same mistakes and making these bad judgments. So it's not just a one-time thing. I think we're seeing patterns here.
I would never ask you to analyze someone from afar who's not a patient, but Mr. Weiner's talked a lot about going into therapy and that sort of thing. What's wrong with him? I mean, that's the question. Why? What is he doing? Why is he doing this?
The compulsion factor.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it from an executive leadership perspective and the people that are drawn to these positions, we have to understand these are typically bold, kind of brash characters. So we have to take that and understand that's part of who's driven to this. But there's an addiction to that power and the entitlement that comes with it, and there's a need for it. In the case with Spitzer, in one of his first interviews, he said he was getting back in because he missed the fight, right? They enjoy it, they love it. And so that's what I think we have to sit back and think, okay, that's great, they're doing it for their own reasons and why they enjoy it, but we have to think about what...
It's okay to have somebody who has such a big ego take the reins and move into the mayoral office, as long as they do their job. And that's the important thing. New York's a tough town. I'm a lifelong New Yorker. Whenever we've had a tough mayor, they have governed fairly and well. And that's what we need again. See, the problem here is that the other candidates running for mayor, there's no excitement about them. If Weiner drops out, which I hope he doesn't, there's nobody that's going to fill his shoes. No, I don't like what he has done.
Right. No,
however, as a politician, he's the only tough guy that we have running, and we need somebody like that.
Well, but part of this makes me worry because we scrutinize these politicians to such a great extent. I think it might deter really good, qualified folks to want to get in. I mean, there is a point where sometimes, I think we could really overkill it. So
Sure.
What does that say about us, though, as human beings, that we're so willing to forgive? We forgave Bill Clinton. We forgive a whole lot of people. Is it that they see that, hey, look, they'll get over this. As long as once it disappears from the headlines, I'll get the voters.
Yeah, see, here's Weiner's problem, is that we forgave him once, but he did it a second time, and he did it under the name of Carlos Danger. So the jokes are flying furiously.
If you could have one name worse than Weiner in this situation, add Carlos Danger to the equation, and his lady friend Sydney Leathers.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up.
And, you know, and as Dr. Woody, I have to be very careful about throwing too many stones in this glass house right here.
Okay,
So.
all right. And that's time. All right, and that's the issue. Thank you, guys. Good talking to you. Always
It's a
interesting.
pleasure. We hope to have you back soon. All right. Now, here's your chance to weigh in on today's discussion.